An active morning to begin for this Monday, tracking some showers and thunderstorms out there across the Gulf Coast. But how's the rest of today shaping up? I'll be breaking down all of your forecast details coming up.
Also, police are still trying to figure out why 2 firefighters were shot and killed by a suspected arsonist in northern Idaho. Plus,
it's a vote-a-rama on Capitol Hill as Democrats try to bring down the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill in the Senate. I'm Carolina Shively in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
First on the Gulf Coast with breaking news and weather. Fox 10 Midday starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Right now you're watching Fox 10 Midday. Happy Monday. We hope you had a wonderful and restful weekend. I'm Ashley Mitchell.
And I'm Jennifer Lambers.
And crazy to think today is the last day of June, and it's been a busy morning here already.
That is exactly right, Ashley. We've been hearing the nonstop rain here at the Fox 10 News Studios. Been hearing some rumbles of thunder as well, and that's going to be the trend for many areas across the Gulf Coast. Let's go ahead and track along with some of those showers and those storms out there. Things really starting to ramp up thunderstorm wise for northern Mobile County. We're seeing a lot of that closer towards Citronelle, down towards Gulf Crest. So in case you're going to be heading out along 45 anytime soon, just make sure that you're driving carefully. Again, very wet and soggy, heavy downpour, seeing more of that closer towards Mount Vernon, extending down towards Chastang. And the motion of these storms is going to be from north to south. So Chunchula, Georgetown, just a heads up, you're next to see some of those along with Salco. As you take a look towards portions of Baldwin County, Stapleton, over towards Gateswood, down towards Robertsdale into Loxley, Spanish Ford, Daphne. It's just straight rain for you. And then some heavier portions with a few isolated lightning strikes for portions of Mobile, mainly just starting to see some of those in between downtown and closer towards I-65. So the Midtown area really just starting to see some of that heavy rain, more of those lightning strikes. Southern Mobile, Baldwin counties, there's just that straight rain out there. Not quite seeing any of that thunderstorm activity, so a lot of folks still enjoying the beaches despite some of the rain. Again, that's okay right now because we're not seeing any of that lightning out there for our coastal spots. Different story, however, closer towards the Florida Panhandle, Chumuckla closer towards Allentown, Milton, some isolated lightning strikes there. And then also in case you're closer towards Niceville, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin, seeing more of those lightning strikes. Taking a look at the rain coverage that we've been seeing so far over the past 12 hours, we've already picked up about 2, closer towards 3 inches of rain for portions of central Mobile and Baldwin counties. And we're only adding on more to this, anticipating more of that rain coverage heading into the rest of this afternoon. Right now, here's a live view outside. You can't even see the downtown skyline, some low visibility, but I'm going to talk more about your forecast and timing out today's rain chances. Those details are coming up in just a little bit. Ashlyn.
All right, Jen, thank you. We'll be sure to check back in with you soon. But we're starting with global news this morning. At least 8 people have been killed in a fiery explosion at a pharmaceutical factory in India. The blast happened this morning at Sagachi Industries in Sangareddy in the southern state of Telangana. Thick smoke on your screen there can be seen billowing from the site, where search and rescue crews are actively looking for possible survivors who might be trapped beneath the debris. Local media reported a reactor explosion at the plant caused the fire and several people were injured. While police in Idaho are still searching for answers a day after a suspected lone gunman set a fire, then ambushed the firefighters who responded. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Hunt has more from Carradine, Idaho.
A solemn procession for 2 fallen firefighters killed in a shocking ambush attack on Sunday. It started early afternoon local time. Crews were responding to an active fire at Canfield Mountain, just north of Coeur d'Alene. About a half hour later, gunshots were reported, and on Sunday night, a tactical team found the body of the suspected gunman in a wooded area.
We do believe that he started it, and it was totally intentional what he did. This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
Police say the shooter was acting alone and a shelter-in-place order has now been lifted. But there's still no word on what was his motive or why he started the fire before attacking the firefighters.
Right now, cops are applying for search warrants for cell phone records, computer records, search warrants for his residence, vehicles, everything, search warrants to search his body.
Experts are applauding the decision to move the suspect's body as the flames closed in, preserving evidence that could be crucial in determining his motive. And investigators will likely find more clues as the fire dies down and they get more access to the area.
It sounds like they got to get in there, they got to see what weapons he has, and they have to see if the weapons that are found there match to the weapons that fired.
A third firefighter who was shot and badly wounded is now said to be in stable condition after surgery. In Coeur d'Alene, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Also this morning, a judge will hear from potential witnesses in the case of the man accused of killing 4 college students. Brian Kohberger is charged in the 2022 stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Today, several possible defense witnesses will appear in court in Kohberger's home state of Pennsylvania. There, it will be determined whether they might be required to testify. Kohberger had been tracked to Pennsylvania and was ultimately arrested in the state at his parents' home. Final witness lists have been sealed by the court. Kohberger's trial is scheduled to begin in August. And breaking locally overnight, Mobile police arresting this man on your screen, 20-year-old Caleb Broadhead, in connection to a homicide on Wagner Street. According to Mobile police, officers responded to the 2100 block of Wagner Street, where a man was shot back on June 20th. They found the victim in the area of Somerville Street with a life-threatening wound. The victim, later identified as 46-year-old Cordell Robinson, died from his injuries. Right now, Broadhead faces 3 charges, including murder, discharging a gun into an occupied vehicle, and a violation of probation. Well, authorities also investigating a shooting at the intersection of Spring Hill Avenue and Catherine Street in Mobile. Police say when officers arrived shortly after 2 a.m. Sunday, they discovered 4 victims inside a vehicle. Investigators say they'd been shot in a drive-by shooting. We're told all of the victims were rushed to a local hospital. As of right now, though, no names or conditions have yet been released. This is an ongoing investigation. We'll update you as we learn more. Well, trade talks are back on again between the U.S. and Canada following a dust-up over a proposed online tax involving U.S. companies. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney saying yesterday the talks are resuming following their suspension after Canada proposed hitting some U.S. companies with a digital services tax. Now, Canada wanted to impose a 3% tax on firms doing business in Canada, who Canada says may not otherwise pay taxes on revenues generated by online means. American tech companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, Apple, and others would have been affected. The proposal angered President Donald Trump, who called off trade negotiations over the plan. The president labeled that idea as a, quote, blatant attack on American businesses. The tax was set to go into effect today, but the plan was scrapped after a call between Mr. Trump and Carney. Well, after a weekend of setbacks, the Senate is pushing ahead on President Trump's key domestic policy bill. In another marathon session Monday, senators are voting on amendments to the big, beautiful bill, but it's unclear if Congress can push it through by the president's Friday deadline. Fox's Caroline Shively has this story from Washington.
The clerk will call the roll.
The vote-a-rama on the big, beautiful bill kicked off in the Senate Monday morning. It's a series of votes on amendments to the president's sprawling tax and immigration bill, and it could take all day.
So, Mr. President, it's time to vote.
The Senate bill would extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts / Medicaid reverse initiatives to fight climate change and increase money for the Pentagon and immigration enforcement. The Congressional Budget Office says it would add more than $3 trillion to the U.S. deficit over the next decade.
This is not just a number. It affects your everyday life. Higher interest rates. Think about your credit cards, your car loans.
Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina announced he won't run for re-election after breaking ranks to oppose the bill, warning it could devastate rural hospitals and kick hundreds of thousands of people in his state off Medicaid.
It is inescapable that this bill in its current form will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made.
Other Republicans pushed back on that idea.
Let's reform Medicaid and save it for those people who need it. But let's make sure that people who are able-bodied go to work every day and don't get things for free.
President Trump wants Congress to pass a bill by the 4th of July, but he seemed to soften that deadline over the weekend.
As long as we have it, It's very important.
If the Senate passes the bill, it heads back to the House for a vote, but it's unclear if House leadership has the numbers to muscle it through. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And listen to this now. Stocks opened higher this morning. Investors are optimistic about President Trump's budget bill. And because it appears trade talks with Canada are back on as well, it's a lighter week ahead in the financial world as far as major reports are concerned. The markets will be looking to continue the positive close from Friday when the Dow was up 432, the S&P 500 gained 32, and the Nasdaq 106. The S&P and Nasdaq closed at new all-time highs, the first for the S&P since February 19th and the first of the year for the Nasdaq. The markets are closed on Friday for Independence Day, July 4th. And also this morning, environmental groups are attempting to block President Trump's alligator Alcatraz with an 11th hour lawsuit. Alligator Alcatraz is set to start housing undocumented immigrants as soon as tomorrow. The groups who filed this new lawsuit say that officials did not look into the environmental aspects, and now they're trying to pause construction while they still can.
You know, to give them this is just unacceptable. Our demands are to leave the Everglades, to leave this land as it be.
It's not good for the water, it's not good for the wildlife and the habitats. Why is it here?
But officials say it's not going to impact the environment. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says the lawsuit is, quote, lazy, saying the land has already been developed for a decade. The facility will be a hub for deportations that will also house detainees and process their legal cases. It sits on a 30-mile property there. It's a former training base and already has an airstrip for deportations. We're told the facility will cost around $450 million a year, and FEMA will be reimbursing Florida for those funds. Well, when we come back on Fox 10 Midday, California firefighters battling yet another wildfire. We'll tell you about that. Plus, SeaWorld is being sued by environmental groups. We'll tell you why after the break. But first, Jen, it's a busy morning all across the Gulf Coast.
That's exactly right, Ashlyn. We're keeping a close eye on your forecast in case you are heading out the door anytime soon. Heads up, there is a bad accident right now. That is going to be on I-10 westbound, but we are seeing delays in both directions. So this is going to be in Mobile County. 2 lanes are blocked. That left-hand shoulder is also blocked. Here is going to be that view. So again, this is going to be just before exit 17 as you're approaching closer towards Tillman's Corner. It's also backing up onto I-65. So if you're heading out the door anytime soon in Mobile County, for I-10 heading closer towards Range Line and Tillman's Corner or closer towards I-65, you will see some of those delays. Be cautious out there. It's wet and soggy on the roads. I'll talk more about your forecast and keep you updated on the traffic conditions. That's coming up on Fox 10 Midday. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back into Fox 10 Midday. SeaWorld is being sued over its use of fireworks. KGTV's Olivia Gonzalez-Britt tells us why.
Bright, loud, and a 4th of July tradition. But fireworks can also be problematic, not only for pets at home, but environmentalists have found SeaWorld's fireworks in particular are polluting the Mission Bay.
And they are not cleaning up the fireworks debris and the trash and the plastics that are a result of these shows.
San Diego Coastkeeper and CERF say SeaWorld agreed to clean up rules in a previous settlement over a decade ago, but they say the company isn't holding up its end.
We launched an investigation. We actually sent a diver into the water around the fireworks barge that's operated by SeaWorld.
What they found is plastic wires and firework caps.
And in addition, we found a lot of debris along the shoreline, especially at low tide.
The group say it's not just litter, it's long-term damage.
There's a compounding effect. There's a lot of physical debris, and then over time, you're just getting a buildup of metals and plastics and contamination that are very bad for marine life.
The 40-page lawsuit says SeaWorld is violating the Clean Water Act. It accuses the park of skipping required cleanups after shows and discharging poorly treated wastewater into the bay. The groups also want SeaWorld to start thinking differently about their fireworks shows.
And in the long term, they really should be looking at alternatives, using drones instead of fireworks, especially if you're going to do a show over water, over a marine coastal waterway.
I reached out to the company, who declined to comment on the lawsuit. SeaWorld is still planning their 4th of July fireworks for next Friday.
And happening now, fire crews are battling a new wildfire burning in Southern California. The Wolf Fire erupted on the hills near Banning in Riverside County yesterday. It exploded to more than 1,100 acres overall, forcing several evacuations in that area. As of today, California Fire has said the fire is 0% contained. No injuries have yet been reported, and the cause of the fire is unknown. Well, Mount Kilauea in Hawaii erupting again over the weekend. The National Weather Service says lava is pouring from the north vent. This latest eruption has occurred within a closed area of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and this is the 27th eruption since last December. Most of the eruptions only lasting a day or less, and there have been some pauses in Kilauea's activity that has lasted at least several days.
Well, taking another look at not only your forecast, but also roadway conditions out there. This is going to be a look at that accident that is mainly taking place on I-10 westbound. It's just going to be after I-65 as you're approaching closer towards Tillman's Corner and Range Line there. So we are really starting to see some of that traffic at a standstill. It's backing up onto I-65 southbound. So in case you are heading out the door anytime soon, this traffic has been ongoing for over an hour now. So just make sure avoid this area if you're able to. If you know anyone heading out the door anytime soon, give them a heads up, remind them to turn their maps on. That way, hopefully they can find a decent detour around this. Also, slick roads out there, some isolated flooding on some of the roadways and low visibility. Not the best morning to be driving out there, but in case you can avoid this area, just make sure that you're doing so. We'll continue to monitor, keep you updated, but drive carefully out there so far to begin for today. And unfortunately, this rain coverage, it's only continuing. It's turning much more widespread, continuing to stay soggy for portions of Mobile, Baldwin counties, isolated further inland. But even once that big bulk of rain right there begins to push further off towards the south, we're still going to start to see more of this heading into the rest of today. The rain coverage will only continue for our Monday. Still some of those thunderstorms beginning to take place towards portions of northern Mobile County. Citronelle looking better, but as mentioned, the majority of that rain has now pushed closer towards Chinchula, Georgetown. Some lightning strikes out there still active closer towards Mount Vernon, portions of Baldwin County. It's just wet. It's just that constant rain out there. We had that isolated lightning strike there just over Mobile Bay. So it's really just going to be dependent upon your location if you're seeing some of this rain coverage or inland spots staying mostly quiet. Southern Mobile, Baldwin County is just more of that rain coverage. Again, be careful out there as this rain, it's been constant so far for this morning, almost picking up close to 2 to 3 inches of rainfall dependent upon where you are. Mainly central to southern Mobile, Baldwin counties to begin for today. Allentown also noticing some of those thunderstorms, and also as we look closer towards Niceville, extending down closer towards Fort Walton Beach. It's soggy out there. The rest of I-10 looking decent in case you're heading towards the Florida side. It's just going to be some of that rain plus also those delays and accidents on the Mobile side. Timing things out on our Futurecast. I will say this Futurecast model, it is doing a better job in comparison to some of the other ones that we show here. It actually has that rain coverage across our area to begin for this morning. But the main takeaway here isn't going to be so much the placement. It's going to be the timing and the overall look. My main takeaway, it is continuing to stay unsettled heading into the remainder of this afternoon and this evening. Only anticipating more of that rain coverage, showers, thunderstorms as we do get further along into this afternoon and this evening. So you might potentially see some delays, cancellations for any events that you have heading into tonight, sports practices, games, camps that may be going on. It's still going to be wet and soggy by that point, but then the majority of that rain coverage continues to settle out once that sun sets. Forecast high temperatures today, much cooler. That's going to be the trade-off there. Upper 70s, lower to mid 80s out there, well below average for what we should be seeing, but it will be short-lived. So in case you want to head on out towards the beach today, it's going to be a little cooler, moderate rip currents today and tomorrow, low midweek as we get closer towards the weekend. And then also checking in on the tropics. There is one area that we're monitoring out there. Not too concerned about it for us, but it's still something that we have to watch, monitor. Some potential tweaks will possibly be made to the forecast as we do get closer. But in case you're traveling, heading closer towards July 4th, if you're making your way further east, closer towards the Big Bend region of Florida, the Florida Peninsula, it's going to be wet, soggy, and unsettled. Constant rain showers beginning closer towards midweek, only lingering into the weekend. Here locally, it's the the opposite. We're going to start to see our forecast turning quiet, and that rain coverage, that's going to be regardless of development for that tropical system. It's low for it to actually develop over the next 7 days. Here, we're going to be looking at potential chances to be drying out, going the opposite way. But look at those daytime highs. Mid-90s. It's going to be hot and toasty by July 4th. Get creative with some ways to cool down. I'll talk more about your forecast coming up in just a little bit. More Fox 10 Midday is on the way. We'll be right back after this.
In case you missed it, an unexpected moment for Beyonce in Houston Saturday. The superstar was in the middle of a performance at NRG Stadium when a flying car prop malfunctioned. Videos on social media showed what appeared to be the car tilting midair as Beyonce stayed strapped into it. Now, she was safely lowered back to the ground. Beyonce's production company, Parkwood Entertainment, said on social media, thankfully no one was hurt and that the show continued on without incident. Well, Brad Pitt's racing thriller F1 the movie outpaced the competition at the box office this weekend. Rick Damigella has the top 5 box office countdown.
28 years later, stumbled from second place all the way to 5th this weekend on ticket sales of $9.7 million.
I'll admit, there were some bugs in my programming.
Megan 2.0 failed to boot up, opening with just $10.2 million. That's barely a third of the original Megan's $30.4 million 2022 opening, and just half of what Variety's box office experts predicted the sequel would make this weekend.
Your life isn't up there, Elio. It's down here.
Elio held on to third place with $10.7 million. After 2 weeks on top, How to Train Your Dragon slipped to second place, adding $19.4 million to its domestic box office hoard, which now sits at just north of $200 million. F1 the movie took the checkered flag in a commanding opening weekend win. The racing drama starring Brad Pitt and Damson Idris blew away the competition with a $55.6 million win. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Coming up, a new fee for cruise passengers is kicking in. We'll explain that in just a moment. Plus, it might be the middle of 2025, but that doesn't mean you can't start your workout goal. Fox 10's Vanessa Pacheco is working out a sweat this morning, and she has all of those details after this. Welcome back. We're just about halfway through the year, and if your fitness goals fell off somewhere between January and now, don't sweat it. Vanessa is at a fitness facility this morning, breaking a sweat and bringing the inspiration.
We are getting a bit of mid-year motivation. I am here at Quick Fits Wellness and Fitness. I'm here joined by the owner, TJ McCord. Yes. Okay, TJ, we want to get in that mid-year workout. What do you have for me?
Yes. So today we're just going to use a basic stability ball.
Okay.
You can purchase this at your local sporting goods store or Amazon. And so very inexpensive. And so we're just going to do a few movements you can do at home. So the first movement is a reverse lunge, and you're going to raise the ball up in the air when you do it. So you're going to step back, raise it up. Okay. And you can work,
do this.
Primarily your shoulders as well as your legs, all right, and somewhat of your core.
Now, TJ, while I'm doing this, tell me about Quick Fits.
Yeah, so at Quick Fits here, we specialize in body recomposition of general population as well as sports performance. And so we have quite a few athletes come in from Pee Wee and Pop Warner football to college, high school, and professional level athletes.
Okay, so you train from children to seniors?
Children to seniors, yes.
Okay, what do you have for me next?
People of all ages. All right, our next move, we're going to work the core a little bit, okay? Every woman wants to get snatched, and you also want to have a strong core for posture, okay? So you're going to hold the ball straight out in front, and you're just going to keep your lower half stable, don't move it, and you're just going to twist from each side, keep your arms straight. There you go.
Okay, do you feel like now that we're coming to that mid-year mark, you come across more clients, more people wanting to get their winter body, say?
Yeah, so usually what happens is, people prepare for the summer and vacations. And so when they go on their vacation, they indulge in whether it's alcohol, whether it's just food, wherever they went. And so now when they come back, it's just kind of time to reset. Get yourself back in that mode and prepare for the holidays.
That's me right there. Maybe I fell off just a little bit, but we're we're coming back stronger.
Right. Usually June, July, that's that 6-7 month mark of
Yeah.
the year. And so it's that time for us to get back set up and get ready to go.
Okay, you got another one.
Yes, I have one more movement, or really two more. The last one is something special for you. All right, the next movement is a squat shuffle. So you're gonna hold the ball primarily just like we just had it. You're gonna squat down, and as you come up, you're gonna shuffle. There you go.
I'm only gonna do like
Okay.
2 more of these, okay, guys? Now,
You
for
catch
anyone that wants more information on Quick Fits, TJ, where can they go?
So yeah, we have a website, Quick Fits Wellness and Fitness, where it's actually quickfits.com.
Okay.
And so you can actually find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok. At Quick Fits Fitness, yes.
Okay, so you said one more. What was
All right, so the last one is another core
Okay.
movement. So we're gonna do a basic plank on a stability ball. So we're gonna place the ball, go down to one knee, go down to the other. And so you're gonna place your elbow and forearm on top of the stability ball.
Okay.
And all you're gonna do is just try to come up to your toes, make sure your feet are kind of spread out.
So I don't know what my balance is gonna look like here, guys. So we're gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap things up
All right,
here.
come on with it. We're gonna just raise up.
Okay.
Keep your chest off the ball, hold your
How
core
long?
tight. Try to at least do 30 seconds.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. But TJ, thank you
Yes,
for that.
indeed.
And 30.
There you
Back
go.
to you guys.
Good job.
Good job, V. I respect it. Well, going ahead and taking a live view outside right now. We're taking a view out in Fairhope, just starting to see some of the wet and soggy conditions out there. More of that rain just beginning to fall across portions of the Gulf Coast. So again, it's wet and soggy out there. Just make sure that you are driving carefully in case you are heading out the door anytime soon. Also, I want to give a quick update too that accident we were tracking on I-10 earlier has since cleared out. We're starting to see that traffic moving smoothly, but in case there's any other disruptions out there, we'll be the first to let you know. But again, here's a live view out there. Just make sure that you are being cautious out on the roadways because of how soggy it is. Taking a look at conditions on the eastern shore there. Fairhope temperatures resting in the lower 70s, making our way across the other side of Mobile County, closer towards West Mobile. Temperatures resting in the mid 70s as well, but showers and thunderstorms on both sides of the bay there. Be careful in case you will be heading out the door anytime soon. Here's a look at what radar is looking at, and our inland spots, really northern Washington, Clark, Monroe, Conecuh counties, they've stayed quiet so far to begin for today. Now we're starting to see more of those showers beginning to fire off, anticipating more of that thunderstorm activity to also begin ramping up. So if you haven't seen much just yet, wait for it because we're only seeing more of this rain coverage beginning to increase heading into this afternoon. Timing things out in our Futurecast. Again, both Futurecast models are struggling to begin for today. This one doing a little bit of a better job showing what we're already seeing out there. But if you notice just more of that rain shower and thunderstorm development for our inland spots, more of that storm motion from north to south going to be taking place heading into this afternoon and this evening. So potentially seeing some of those impacts, cancellations for camps, practices, games, anything you might have taking place outside. It's going to be much cooler out there. Just a reminder, when thunder roars, go indoors. Rain coverage will turn down just a little bit after that sun sets. It's not totally over, but we'll see less of it after really 8 o'clock. Forecast temperatures today is going to be much cooler out there, courtesy of the increased rain coverage and also that cloud cover. We're going to be maxing out really the lower to mid 80s, even cooler heading into tonight. And these temperatures below average for what we should be seeing. A reminder, our daytime high should be closer towards 90 degrees. Luckily, nowhere near that previous record of 101 set back in 1894. But taking a live view outside down in Orange Beach, still soggy for southern Baldwin County. This rain has been going for about 2 hours now. Folks, not letting it stop them, still getting out there and enjoying some of those conditions. A reminder, that's okay as long as there's no lightning out there. You're not seeing any of that lightning, hearing any of those rumbles of thunder. As soon as you do start to see or hear some of that, make sure you head inside. You can either get in your vehicle or just head back into that condo out there. Please be careful in case you do hear any of the rumbles of thunder out there. Temperatures resting in the mid 70s, those winds out of the north-northwest closer towards 10 miles per hour. But I am anticipating improvements down at our local beaches. It's moderate today and tomorrow, low once we get closer towards Wednesday. That surf height closer towards 2 feet. Mainly seeing those yellow flags out there for today, a few purple flags with those jellyfish. But hopeful by Thursday and Friday we'll start to see more of those green flags because, hey, the beach is going to be a great idea because here's the trade-off. Once once we are starting to see those rain chances go down by Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, look at those temperatures. They go soaring. We're maxing out from below average to above average in the mid-90s, feeling even hotter with that humidity out there. But I'll talk more about your forecast and what we're tracking in the tropics. That's coming up in just a little bit. Ashlyn.
All right, Jen, thank you for that update. Well, listen to this. Nissan is late on its payments. The Fed says banks can weather an economic downturn. We're talking about a new fee for cruise passengers that's kicking in, and theme parks give Disney a boost. Fox's CJ Papa is kicking off your week with today's business headlines.
Nissan motor sales are slumping. Now Reuters says the automaker is asking suppliers to allow it to delay payments. Its new CEO, Ivan Espinosa, is also cutting costs. He wants to shrink Nissan's workforce by around 15% and close 7 plants. Nissan's credit rating has been cut to junk by all 3 major ratings agencies. The Federal Reserve's annual stress tests revealed that the 22 largest U.S. banks are well positioned to withstand a severe economic downturn. The annual tests were established by the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010. As a response to the financial crisis. Your next cruise to Mexico could cost more. The Wall Street Journal says a new passenger tax takes effect July 1st. Cruise passengers will be charged a $5 fee when their ship stops at a Mexican port. The rate will eventually rise to $21 a passenger. And analysts at Jefferies are more optimistic about Disney, citing demand for its theme parks. Disney is also preparing to launch 2 more cruise ships. Analysts also believe NBC Universal's Epic Universe theme park will draw even more people to vacation in Central Florida, where Disney's flagship park is based. CJ Papa, Fox News.
In the meantime, President Donald Trump says there is, quote, a buyer for TikTok, but he's not saying who it is. In a Fox News interview that aired Sunday, Trump said he will disclose who it is in about 2 weeks. He did give a hint, though, saying the buyers were a, quote, group of very wealthy people. Trump said that he thinks he will have to get China's approval for the deal to go through, though. It's been about 5 months since a law went into effect requiring TikTok to be banned in the U.S. unless it was sold off by its China-based parent company. Trump has in turn signed 3 orders delaying enforcement on the ban, as we've seen, and the deadline for TikTok parent company ByteDance to hand over control of TikTok's U.S. operations is now September 17th. Well, listen up now. The U.S. Postal Service is reminding consumers don't put 4th of July fireworks into the U.S. mail system. Fireworks are hazardous materials that could unintentionally explode and injure or even kill postal workers if they're mishandled. Sparklers, firecrackers, bottle rockets, and Roman candles and any other fireworks are banned from all USPS air and ground transportation systems. The Postal Service says anyone mailing fireworks could face civil penalties, criminal charges, and even other consequences. Well, straight ahead on Fox 10 Midday, have you heard of the new Diet Coke break trend? We'll tell you what that's all about. Plus, napping might be good for you if you're looking for an aha moment. Jen and I will talk about all of this and more in your Midday Talkers after this. All right, welcome back. It's time for our Midday Talkers. First up, if you're looking for an aha moment when trying to figure out a problem, then a little shut-eye might help.
Hey, I'm not against this at all. A new study says that you could get inspiration or sudden insight by taking a 20-minute nap.
Yeah, 90 people were asked to track a series of dots across a screen without any basic instructions on performing the task.
After 4 attempts, participants then took a 20-minute nap while an EEG tracked their sleep.
The results showed after napping, about 71% of participants had a eureka moment, figuring out the trick that would make the task easier.
86% of those who entered deeper stage 2 sleep during their nap experienced this moment, compared with 56% of those who stayed awake.
Interesting. The researcher is found in the journal PLOS Biology. I feel like, so I took a nap yesterday, 2 hours, okay? And if you know me, that's shocking. I never take naps. my entire day was thrown off. So I think they're right. A 20-minute short power nap is helpful. What about you?
Mine's between about 20 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
And I feel refreshed. Anything after that, I feel it too. But you and Chelsea, we talked about it in Studio Kids, she also took a 2-hour nap yesterday. Yeah.
Listen, it's just maybe one of those months. I'm tired right now.
Right. I get it.
Might need a little power nap for my Monday. What about you guys? Well, grab a telescope and turn your eyes to the night sky today.
That is because it is International Asteroid Day.
The day marks the anniversary of a large meteor impact in Siberia in Russia that happened on June 30th, 1908.
International Asteroid Day was created several years ago by a diverse group of 4 people that included Brian May.
Yeah, he's the lead guitarist for the rock band Queen, who also happens to be an astrophysicist. I did not know that.
Yeah, neither did I. Well, the day seeks to raise awareness of the threat posed by asteroids when they fall to Earth as meteors and calls for a massive increase in monitoring of those asteroids.
The United Nations has formally recognized International Asteroid Day. Did not know that this was a day that was recognized.
There you go.
Do you have any expertise on any asteroids hitting our area anytime soon?
I do not. But so June 30th. There you go.
Alrighty, interesting. Well, have you ever heard of the term fridge cigarette, Jen?
I haven't until today, but I get it. It's a new way of talking about having a Diet Coke while on a work break.
Okay, so think of it as the traditional smoke break, but with a soda.
The term fridge cigarette is now growing in popularity, especially on, get this, social media.
One of the first posts to use the term on TikTok in early June now has nearly 4 million views.
Some people are having fun and sharing videos of themselves just sipping on sodas as if they were taking a drag. I get this.
Okay. Do you have a favorite? Would you do this?
Definitely not Diet Coke. I don't know why. It's one of my least favorite
Me too,
sodas.
but a lot of people love it.
Yeah, so I can do Dr. Pepper, Zero regular. Yeah.
Dr. Pepper for me.
That's the fan of.
Although I've been
Foxton.
trying not to drink as much Dr. Pepper, so now that this trend is going around, it might be bad.
It's more of my afternoon pick-me-up. That's what I need. Instead of doing a cup of coffee, if you have like a soda in the afternoon.
Trying our best to be healthy over here.
2 or 3 o'clock. There you go.
That's a good time. I agree.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and talk more about your forecast. And you might need to pick me up for today, especially with how gray and gloomy it is out there. More of this rain coverage will continue, so it's a great time to go ahead, download the Foxton weather app. That way you're staying updated with the forecast. A reminder, if you head on over towards our radar feature, you can track along with some of those showers, those thunderstorms. You have FutureCast in the palm of your hand, plus also aerial flood advisory in effect for portions of Mobile County. Just starting to see some of that ponding water on the roadways. Be careful out there, but let's take a live view outside from our Battleship Memorial camera. It's looking better. We can see the skyline now, but it's still wet and soggy out there. Our bug friends unfazed by some of the rain, but you can still start to see some of those showers just falling out there on the horizon. It's going to be that way for the rest of today. Temperatures resting in the mid 70s as we do get further along into this afternoon. Those temperatures will be maxing out lower to mid 80s. Rain coverage continues today and tomorrow. It's going to be wet. It's going to be soggy. Don't forget that rain gear in case you're heading out the door. But checking in on the tropics, there is one area that we're monitoring out there. The National Hurricane Center has this area highlighted in the northeastern Gulf. It hasn't developed just yet. We're anticipating it to become an area of low pressure by the end of the week. As for us, it's really not going to be impacting us. Hopeful that this trend continues. In case you're going to be traveling, however, closer towards the Big Bend region, the Florida Peninsula, that's what my 4th of July plans look like. It's going to be wet and it's going to be soggy. While tropical development chances are low, it's still going to be bringing in an abundance of moisture, again, further off towards the east. So in case you are going to be traveling that direction, you will start to see some of that increased rain coverage. This was supposed to be showing some of that rainfall. Fortunately, it doesn't look to be working at this time. But I'm going to continue to monitor your forecast and keep you updated. I'm going to talk more about what we're tracking coming up in just a little bit. For right now, here's a live, wet and soggy look outside down on Dauphin Island. Please be careful in case you're heading out the door anytime soon. We'll be right back with 3 to know before you go after this.
All right, listen to this. Outside a funeral in Detroit, a helicopter shows up and starts raining down rose petals and even cash on friends and well-wishers. Family members say it was a high-flying final farewell from a local business owner known for his generosity. Jeremy Roth has this story in today's Take a Look at This.
A recently deceased business owner in Detroit was honored in high-flying fashion with a surreal send-off that saw cold, hard cash rained down on well-wishers above.
All right, looks like we're having some technical difficulties with that story, but we want to bring 3 to know before you go today. China's largest coffee chain enters the U.S. Luckin Coffee opened 2 locations in New York City today, and the company mostly relies on takeout booths and even cashless payments. In addition to hot and cold coffee, Luckin also has fruit drinks and pastries. We're told Luckin has more than 22,000 stores existing in China already, and it was 2 years ago that the chain started to bring in more revenue than Starbucks in that country. Luckin drinks are about 30% cheaper than Starbucks offerings as well. Okay, listen to this. Costco members. Costco has released perks for its most devoted members. Starting today, Costco executive members can shop at all locations beginning at 9 a.m., which in fact is 1 hour earlier than other members. Good news for me because I'm also an executive member. But those members are also set to receive an annual 2% reward on specific purchases and discount on Costco services. And executive members who place orders of $150 or more through the retailer's same-day service or Instacart will actually get a monthly $10 credit, which is pretty nice. Now, finally, big news this morning from Amtrak. Tomorrow morning, Amtrak will announce information about the new Mardi Gras service line across Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The service will feature inner-city passenger trains twice daily between Mobile and New Orleans, including 4 stops along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, the announcement is set for 8 a.m. at Government Plaza. Fox 10 News will be there, and the start date, schedule, and fares will also be revealed. Jen, this is something we've all been waiting on for a really long time.
That Mardi Gras train,
Yes.
Not only is it going to be a party going from the port city to New Orleans, but also it's going to be a party on the train.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Are you going to take it?
I don't know. I might have to check that out.
Fun to have a little Fox 10 trip on that line, test things out.
There you go. Fun way to travel. Let's go ahead and take a final look at your forecast. So the rain coverage, it is wet, it is soggy out there. We're already starting to see some of those high rain rates as some of these storms really taking their time getting out of here. So just make sure that you're being cautious, you're driving carefully, already getting some reports. Some of that ponding water out there on the roadways, only anticipating more of this heading into the afternoon and this evening. It's a good day to stay inside, watch a movie, take a nap, because it's only going to stay gray and gloomy out there. Even then, I do think the Futurecast is leaning off on that coverage that I'm anticipating heading into this afternoon and this evening just a bit. Decent chance to see on and off showers and thunderstorms throughout the rest of today. That'll also come into play for tomorrow. It's a brand new month. It's July 1st for your Tuesday, wet and soggy. And then we start to see improvements midweek, summertime pattern. And then look at that. We start to drop off those rain chances, but those temperatures go up by July 4th and into the weekend. So improvements rain wise. Just make sure, in case you do have outdoor plans for July 4th or this weekend, stay hydrated, take breaks, find some creative ways to cool down. We'll resume that regular summertime pattern heading into next week with the increased rain chances.
Want some sunshine, Jen?
I know. We'll get it.
Is it to ask?
But then it'll get hot.
All right, take a nap today. I'm going to get a Dr. Pepper today. I know
There
I said
you
I'm
go.
cutting back,
You deserve
but
it.
we're sleepy. All right, thanks for watching Fox 10 Midday. Be sure to stick around at 3 p.m.